Hello everyone, welcome to Yampian Economics. 2,000 years ago, several economists debated fiercely in the imperial court. Should the state monopolize salt and iron? Should we pursue mercantilism? Should we wage wars on the frontier? Isn't this just a modern version of today's debates over chips, rare earths, energy, food, tariffs, subsidies, and industrial chain security? This year, we'll use the 8 trigrams from the I Ching as our radar, the 9 palaces from Chimendunjia as our sandbox, the emperor's inner canon to critique national health, Sun Tzu's art of war to help businesses strategize, and the Ziji Tongjian as our historical weather vane, guiding you to understand the underlying logic behind the global economic buzz of 2025. Yampian Theory 2.0, the rebalancing of resources, finance, and borders. Yampian Debate, national capability versus market efficiency. Ancient times, salt and iron, now semiconductors. Heart to semiconductors, iron to heavy industry. The underlying logic of the Yampian theory, finance, resources, and borders. The Yampian theory covers 3 main aspects. First, finance is needed for war. Stationing troops on the frontier and building roads all require money. Second, resource control. Salt and iron were strategic materials at the time. Third, price and people's livelihood. Would a monopoly harm the people? Would deregulation lead to price chaos? Bringing it to the present, salt means food, lithium, copper, phosphate, data bandwidth. Iron means steel, shipbuilding, photovoltaic silicon materials, advanced manufacturing. The frontier is maritime routes, data sovereignty, and supply chain choke points. Jinshu's stabilization is strategic reserves, stabilization funds, and industrial subsidies. So, many of the policies in 2025 may look like news, but in reality, they are all sequels to the salt and iron debate in the modern world. Salt and iron equate to resources, Jinshu to price stabilization, frontier to trade routes and cross-border data flows, finance lifeblood of war, resources backbone of industry, prices spirit of public sentiment. The form of salt and iron has changed, but the logic remains the same. Second, using the 8 trigrams of the I Ching to analyze the 2025 industrial trends. The Zhouyi says, change is constant, some things remain unchanged, and some are simple. Industries are the same. Qian, Pian, Jing correspond to hard tech, AI, and chips, focusing on fundamentals, trend detection algorithms, computing power, computational elements, energy dissipation, and in-depth battles over materials, risks from geopolitics, export controls, and talent bottlenecks. Kundai, too, represent infrastructure, energy foundations, and power grid. The prevailing trend strongly recognizes power grid and energy reserves as the underlying logistics base, with risks from mismatches between debt and cash flow cycles. Zhenlei, Mu now stand for new energy equipment, wind power, and energy storage all emerging in the East. The prevailing trend is toward offshore wind power and long-duration energy storage, with risks including price wars and the phasing out of subsidies. Xinfeng Mu now represents supply chains and cross-border services that permeate everything without competing directly. The prevailing trend is toward regionalized outsourcing and smaller circles, with risks including fragmented regulations and rising compliance costs. Talking about who is equal to seeking strategies in financial fortune and insurance, the trend is to ensure the operation of one price to circumvent costs and the risk of trade credit shrinkage. Black swans are concentrated in the Watergate and fire, which are equal to the profit of semiconductor display and photovoltaic materials. The trend is material root innovation, SiC, DAN, and the risk of state-owned minerals, production capacity fluctuations, patents and standards, and the mountain climbing map is equal to real estate land finance and auspiciousness. The trend is urban renewal, insurance, and building rise. The risk of urban population and interest rate prejudice, the triple scissors gap, is equal to the choice of consumer content and entertainment. The trend is the combination of AI content and physical consumption. The risk of live broadcast going overseas, the rapid change of supervision and brand rules. The 3 hexagrams of Kali determine the alternation of computing power and cash flow, and the sentiment and stop-loss of industrial consumption and real estate. 3. Chimendunjia, 9 palaces, a 3-dimensional sandbox of supply, demand, and capital. Chimen focuses on time, emptiness, people, objects, and events. Let's use 9 palaces to lay out economic landscape for 2025. Heavenly timing, energy cycle combined with AI computing power surge, geographical advantage, maritime choke points, land corridors, and cross-border data flows. Harmony of people and timing, demographic structure and migration trends, 8 gates of objects, cultivation, injury, and tightness. Death assets, shock and opening institutional dividends. Key points of deduction. First, supply side. Critical minerals and high-end manufacturing are monopolized by oligopolies. Second, demand side. Global consumption diverging 2 speeds. Mature markets slow to upgrade, while emerging markets seeing rapid incremental growth. Third, on the capital side, prolonged high interest rates combined with fiscal dominance, making capital more inclined toward hard assets and cash cows with real cash flow. Conclusion. This year's lucky gate is the life gate, meaning regulation allows good domestic tech to be implemented. The shock gate is still geopolitics and freight rates. The fight gate is compliance costs. Kimindunja looks at the economy. Where the gate is, that's the opportunity. Capital isn't risk-averse. It only pays for controllable risks. Zhuge Liang's 4-element military strategy, a handbook for national and corporate games, embodies Sun Tzu's warfare is deception. Industrial policy mirrors troop deployment, testing models, feigning attacks, and flanking maneuvers. Key terms for 2025: subsidies, tariffs, standards, probing borders, and data localization. All of these are about creating markets to resolve market issues. 3 things for enterprises to win. First, avoid the strong and attack the weak. Don't go head-to-head with your competitors until you're both bleeding. Find the gaps in the value chain. P efficiency, family harmony, regulatory compliance, and delivery speed. Second, attack where they must defend. Enter through customers' rigid compliance changes, such as privacy compliance or ESG traceability, and force your competitors to follow your rules. Third, outsmart the competition. Optimize costs like assembling a puzzle across different tariff, currency, and legal jurisdictions. Zhuge Liang's divine strategies are about fine-tuning. Add a dark horse to your portfolio by choosing low-probability, high-reward options, such as material substitution, process breakthroughs, or compliance design. Tariffs are the surface, rules are the substance, and delivery is king. In the art of war, there are no eternal winners, only those who adapt.